First of all, thanks so much for like agreeing to do this with me. I don't know if you remember about me, but I used to follow it. Like I used to subscribe to you on your YouTube channel. Yeah, and I also went to UBC, and then I saw like you were a YouTuber from UBC, and you were also doing CS, and you were also like making videos on your like spare time, and that was so inspiring for me. Yeah, so yeah. I also read about about you online, like a couple of articles, and I saw like you founded Slate. You used to work, you used the internet, LinkedIn, and you were for a full-time role, and then you quit your full-time role at LinkedIn to found your own company, Slate, with two of other co-founders, and now you're working as a founding engineer at a startup company called Superpower.
Mhm.
So would you be open to share like a bit about your background, like how has been your career so far? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to meet someone else that's from UBC in the CS space and also making videos, so that's exciting. Um, I guess it started off kind of in middle school when I started creating like mobile apps. That's really my like a big part of my background comes from the mobile space,
Mm,
specifically iOS development, because that's just kind of the device that I had available to me.
mm,
Also used MIT App Inventor like super early on to create some like Android apps. You can't really call it coding. It's more like moving blocks of logic around to create kind of algorithms. So that
mm,
was really my first exposure.
mm,
And then I joined MindStep as a founding engineer in high school and kind of going into university. So that was a health tech startup based in the UK.
mm,
And I was working on their mobile app, and kind of what we were building is a dementia screening application for older adults. So they could use basically this app in order to do a set of exercises, and then we would screen for dementia.
mm,
That company is still around, but I ended up leaving them as I kind of got deeper into university.
mm,
And then I interned at LinkedIn
mm,
in the summer after my second year.
mm,
That was really my first kind of exposure to like a bigger company and working on kind of the web development side.
mm,
I was working full stack there, so that was kind of all new and interesting to me. And I always kind of knew that if I got an offer full time, like after university, I would go back to them because I enjoyed the team, I enjoyed the work. I really aligned with kind of the company's mission as well.
mm.
And so at university, I was actually doing a Bachelor of Computer Science and a Master of Management kind of alongside each other.
Oh.
So I only fully finished university in 2023.
Mm,
And after that, I returned to LinkedIn full time, moved to San Francisco,
mm,
was kind of settling in, and then I received a call from my friend Enrique, who
mm,
at the time was working together with Callum on kind of small projects using ChatGPT, which had really kind of started to explode around that time.
mm,
Um, and there were, of course, a lot of use cases for like desktop computers
mm,
or laptops, but not a lot on edge devices like mobile devices.
mm,
So what he is from Latin America, and he kind of knew that a lot of business was done conversationally. So he wanted to find some sort of application of large language models and ChatGPT in kind of that space on mobile devices.
mm,
And I thought it sounded super cool. It kind of fit my background in mobile development as well. And so I started working on it in kind of the afternoons, after work and on the weekends. And we had agreed that if we got funding for the idea, we would all kind of quit our jobs and go full time to kind of start this company. So
mm.
that's what we did, and we did that for 1.5 years. And then we decided, okay, that's kind of it. I can go into more details into that later,
Yeah.
but that's how I kind of ended up at Superpower afterwards.
Okay. Um, that's super cool. So you started making apps when you were in middle school. Uh,
Yeah.
was that just you doing it on your free time, or was it also part of your like course at school, middle school, or did you just explore? Yeah.
So I was lucky enough that my school really kind of promoted programming, and
Right.
also offered computer science as like an IB class that you could take.
Mm,
Leading up to that in middle school, they obviously wanted to prepare us a little bit, so we learned like Java, learned like
mm,
object-oriented programming, kind of very fundamentals and basics, and played
mm,
around with Scratch and like MIT App Inventor.
mm,
So coursework is kind of how I got that exposure, but it wasn't really how I gained the bulk of my skills. Like it just
mm,
really interested me, so I would continue working on it or playing around with it on the weekends or after school. And
mm,
the first kind of project that I really created was an app for a tutoring agency
mm,
that helped kids learn German and also math.
mm,
Basically, just made like a simple, almost like a questionnaire app or like a little math quiz app for them they could give to their students. And that was kind of my first exposure working with like a client,
mm,
quote unquote.
mm.
So yeah.
I see. So this was, I see, because I started just like coding when I was in my first year of university. So
Mhm.
it's super cool. Like you started building your own thing even before university, and you got your first founding engineer role after high school. So like how were you able to connect with the company Mindscape and yeah, what did your experience building mobile app help you get this first role?
Yeah, it came about kind of out of nowhere. I wasn't really like looking for a job, obviously, in high school. I was
Right.
focused on other things. But I really wanted to kind of do something that would help my resume, like going into university, and then kind of when it came time to like look for internships.
Mm,
So I continued like building side projects in my spare time, and
mm,
I had a LinkedIn account since
mm,
like grade 9. So I would like post all the projects there and just like connect with people that I found were super cool, like leaders of certain companies or people that founded startups or whatever.
mm,
And I had the advantage that I was rather young to be on LinkedIn, so that's how I kind of got
mm,
people's interest is people would be like,
mm,
"Oh, who is this young weird person that's reaching out to me?" Like that's
mm,
interesting. So that was kind of a weird asset on my side.
mm,
But by posting on LinkedIn, one of my friends,
mm,
his older brother had a friend that was founding MindStep. So he finished medical school and it was actually his research project in university. And he wanted to kind of actually like found a company around it. So he was looking for mobile engineers.
mm,
And through that kind of connection, through my schoolmate, he saw me on LinkedIn and he kind of saw the projects that I had on there
mm,
and just decided to reach out to me. And then we kind of sat together on a like virtual call
mm,
and kind of discussed the idea and how it could help. And yeah, that's kind of how the whole situation came about.
mm. It's super cool. So you reach out to leaders from LinkedIn, or and you mentioned like you're interested in startups too. Can I ask like what got you interested in startup? And yeah,
Um, I'm not really sure. I've
yeah.
always had some sort of like entrepreneurial side to me, I guess. I
Mm,
remember in grade 6, a friend of mine was incredibly good at drawing. And I told
mm,
her like, hey, we can like sell these. Like if you make paintings and if you
mm,
draw, we can sell them to like people in school and we can like make money. And we
mm,
actually sold a few.
mm.
And so for me, I always kind of looked for ways to like make money. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was just always like something that struck my interest of how can I use the skills and what's given to me in order to
Mm,
find like a unique way to, I
mm,
guess, like make money in a way that's fun.
right.
And through that, I just kind of continued like building and then got into programming and started building apps and projects and yeah.
Right, makes sense. Is that also a reason why you chose a CS with business, a master's degree?
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the main reason why I did the master's. The reason I did computer science is I really enjoy kind of the mix of logic and creativity that goes into it. I think that's pretty unique in
Mm,
kind of the computer science field.
mm, I see. Yeah, I'm also really interested in business and like doing my own startup. I'm also like participate in a lot of hackathons and
Yeah.
building projects from ground up. And I've actually never been able to like make money off of my projects.
Mhm.
So it's also super cool. Like if people are actually paying for your product, that means you're like giving value to them. So I guess what's your advice on people who likes building projects from ground up, like does a lot of hackathons, but
Yeah.
still like struggles like making money off of like their product? Yeah.
I mean, I never made money off of anything that I coded before
Mm,
Slate. So
mm,
other projects that I made were like selling handmade goods or something like in school or things like that. I
right.
think it's very difficult to create a project and then make money off of it, especially in the consumer space nowadays,
Yeah.
because so much focus is put on design and UX and kind of delightful experiences
Yeah.
that the bar is just incredibly high.
Mm,
I would say like that's kind of what I did too, is I basically participated in a couple hackathons every single year. And it's
mm,
just a good way to get exposure to different technologies and kind of see
mm,
what interests you. And because computer science is a really vast field, right? There's a lot
right.
of different directions that you can take it into. So it's just great to explore. It's great to also meet with recruiters and meet, different companies and get to know what they do or what they're looking for,
Right.
just to meet other people as well. So I would say like making money isn't really that important because if you're in like a job interview, it's very unlikely that they're going to ask you how much money did you make with this project, right? It's always about what are the challenges that you had, how did you overcome them, like m those kind of questions. And I think it's way more important to put yourself in experiences where
Mm,
you can learn and you can grow and you can experience new things than
mm.
focus on how can I like make money through
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I mean, yeah, makes sense. I also want to talk more about your experiences. Like you mentioned, like the Slate was your first project that actually get money, like, and your first startup, I think. And I was wondering, like, how did you meet your co-founders? You mentioned you got a call from your one of your co-founder, but how did you meet them initially, and how did you make that connection with them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the first time I met Enrique was when I interned at LinkedIn, because
right.
he also interned at the same time as me. But we
Mm,
didn't really like we probably talked like twice because it was a remote internship because it was during COVID.
mm,
And we were on two different teams, so we didn't really interact with each other much.
mm.
But we kind of stayed in touch because we were both interested in kind of the entrepreneurial space as well. And then much, much later in my master's, I had to take a class on entrepreneurship and we had to kind of pitch a project.
Mm,
And I was actually kind of interested in building the project and turning it into like an actual company that I
mm,
was pitching. So I just reached out to Enrique because he had a lot of like data pipeline backend experience. And I was like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Like, what do you think? And
mm,
then he knew Callum through engineering school at UBC. And Callum was randomly there as well. We met at Loaf Cafe to like talk about this. And
mm,
Callum was randomly there and I just said hi and that was it. That was the only interaction I ever had with him. Um,
mm,
and then completely out of nowhere, like him and Callum and Enrique start working on what later turned into Slate. And just because I guess I kind of reached out to Enrique previously a few times and he knew that I was interested in like building and building my own thing. And
mm,
he knew that I had a mobile background. He decided to reach out.
mm. I see. It's interesting. Have you guys ever worked on any other project before, or what? Like sets?
No, never.
Oh, okay, I see. How's the experience like? I know you quit Slate now, but how's your experience working with your co-founders? Were you just three of you in a team recently?
Yeah, so it was us three co-founders. We hired like interns and a couple full-time employees, but for the most part, it was us three.
Mm,
Of course, it has its like ups and downs, and there's difficult times and like challenges that you have to go through.
mm,
And there's definitely like looking back at it, there's certain things I would do differently in
mm,
specific situations. But I think overall, we were a very good team in the sense that we knew each other and we knew about each other, so we weren't
right,
strangers, but
right,
at the same time, we weren't best friends. And I think
right.
that's kind of the best. dynamic to have with your co-founders when you're going into like building a company.
Makes sense. Yeah. Do you like for anyone who's interested in building their startup, would you recommend having co-founders or yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
it's better because you might be good in one thing, but you're going to be really bad in something else. And
Right.
it's important to be honest to yourself about that and to find people that kind of fill those holes.
Right.
And even just from like a fundraising perspective, it's a lot easier to raise from investors if you're at least two co-founders compared to being a solo founder.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Yeah, and I also heard that having a big tech experience would also really help you to raise funding. Yeah.
I think that probably depends on the
Uh,
situation. Like I know a lot of university dropouts even that have like funded
mm,
companies without really being in like big tech previously. So it
um,
really depends on what you're founding and also which investors you're talking to.
Mm, I see. Makes sense. And yeah, I was also looking about Slate and I read that you gained 10,000 users in the first 2 weeks and was like top 10 app on the App Store. Yeah, I was curious, how did you guys do the marketing? And yeah, how did you get that initial traction?
Yeah, so marketing was basically all Callum was handling all of that, so I don't have too deep insights, but we basically really focused on ads and tried to get our ad spend down as much as possible and our click-through rate up, mainly through like Facebook ads and Instagram ads. We
Mm,
also worked with influencers as well on Instagram
mm,
and TikTok, so that helped a lot.
mm,
But I would say that ads really kind of was the most powerful way for us to gain
mm.
users.
I see. Were you guys bootstrapping at this time when you were running the ads? Or well, did you already raise funding? Or
We already raised funding. Yeah.
oh, I see. I'm also curious what the funding process look like. Yeah, and what did you think would help you raise funding? I'm really not familiar with like raising funding
Yeah,
spaces. Yeah,
it's a very interesting world.
yeah.
There's so many kind of unspoken rules of how you need to behave and what you can say and when and all these things. It's definitely a challenge challenging. But
Mm,
I think the biggest thing that helped us was that Enrique, my co-founder,
mm,
he's part of Neo Scholars. So Neo is the San Francisco-based investment company that or accelerator that ended up investing the pre-seed round into us and
right.
it's led by Ali Partovi. And because Enrique was kind of part of the Neo Scholars, he kind of had that connection and that introduction. Um,
Mm.
and so he reached out and they were interested and kind of gave us the interviews and we ended up making it through.
Oh, wow. So did you already, I assume you already had your product out there in App Store, or were you, it was just like even before you built your product, you
So
raised the
we had a product out. It was
money.
very different from what Slate was towards the end of the
Right,
company because initially, like I said, Enrique kind of had this background information that a lot of selling in Asia and LATAM was done conversationally through WhatsApp, for example.
mm,
And so the idea was to build an AI-powered keyboard that
mm,
would let sellers manage inventory through their keyboard, for example, or have to like offload a lot of the work processes that would usually happen on, say, a desktop computer to be integrated into the keyboard.
mm,
And that was the idea that we pitched to Neo, and that was the first kind of app that we built and actually launched on the App Store. Of course,
mm,
because it focused on Asia and LATAM, it was for Android.
mm,
Um, and we worked with a previous portfolio company of Neo on like a pilot project. So they actually tested the app that we had built and we kind of formed a little partnership.
mm,
But then as time went on, we realized that the willingness to pay wasn't big enough for these SMBs and kind of individual entrepreneurs in LATAM and Asia. So we pivoted and we kind of went more into a B2C direction, so focused on consumers, um,
mm,
more in like the Western market. And that's really when we decided to target iOS, and that's also when we started working with Randy Marsden, the former head of keyboards at Apple. He was a close advisor to us and angel investor as well.
Mm.
Um, and that's kind of the product that then became known as Slate and how it kind of was at the end of its life as well. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. Uh, uh, and I was wondering also why did you decide to quit Slate and now work on Superbar and what's Superbar
Yeah.
about? Yeah,
So we were getting ready to raise our seed round with Slate, and
right.
we had like a bunch of success in our early adopters in certain markets, like being top 10 in the Philippines, for example, in the App Store. But we always had the struggle of really hitting a mass market
Mm,
and the debate of do we go down a certain vertical or do we want to keep the project rather horizontal?
mm,
And at the end of the day, we weren't really able to raise our seed round because the market wasn't great and we just hadn't hit, or we weren't really where we wanted to be in terms of product and numbers, user numbers.
mm,
So we decided that the three of us kind of, spent enough time working on keyboards and we all just kind of wanted to move on. And
mm,
we ended up selling the company to Favs, a consumer portfolio company based out of LA.
mm,
And then I was kind of looking for what I wanted to do next. And I knew I wanted to take a break from mobile and kind of do something or join a company that was a little later stage. I didn't want to, go from zero to one again. I wanted to join something where product market fit kind of existed. And it was more about how do we scale this.
mm,
And so that's kind of how I came to Superpower because Callum introduced me to one of the co-founders of Superpower.
mm,
And yeah, so they're a health tech, also a health tech company, based out of San Francisco.
mm,
But they're doing a subscription model where you can get an annual blood test that tests basically 100 plus biomarkers, and you get a very holistic and functional approach to kind of your health, where you can see all, or you can upload all your medical records to the platform as well, and your information from your fitness trackers as well as all the blood test information, and it kind of gives you one picture of your entire health in the platform.
oh, I see. That's really cool. You mentioned you also work at health tech before at Mindstep. So were you looking to get into healthcare
Um,
industry or yeah?
Not really. Both of those weren't really on purpose. I'm not
Right.
like, I have to work in healthcare, but I think for me it's important to work on something that has a deeper mission and kind of deeper
Mm,
impact compared to just let's make a website that sells something. Um,
mm,
I wanted to kind of, be part of some sort of change that
mm.
happens, yeah.
Makes sense. And I was also curious, what's your advice for a new grad? I mean, you have experience working for both big tech company and also building your own startup and now it's growing startup company. So, as a new grad students who may be also interested in entrepreneurship, would you recommend starting with big tech and then joining startup or starting with startup? Or like, do you have any advices based on your experiences?
I would say if you have a very clear idea what it is you want to build and you have some very clear people that who you want to build it with, then
Right.
do it immediately after university. If
Mm,
you don't have a clear answer to both of those questions, then I would say go into big tech
mm,
where they're gonna take you more under their wing and they're really gonna try and mentor you and kind of train you in their tech stack and
mm,
in systems.
mm,
And they have a much better structure when it comes to kind of that training process.
mm,
So they're gonna focus a lot of energy in kind of helping you improve.
mm,
Whereas if you're a new grad and you join a startup, not as a founder, but you join an existing startup,
mm,
it's really fast paced and they don't have the time to kind of help you figure things out.
mm,
It's, you either keep up and you either do it or like you're gone.
mm,
So I would say spend a few years kind of in a bigger company
mm,
and get kind of comfortable with kind of what it is that you want to do and the tech stack that you want to use. And
mm,
then maybe you meet some people there or you kind of get an idea through that process and
mm,
then always leave and kind of start your own thing.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I was also curious, what's next for you? Are you also planning to come back and make videos on YouTube, or do you have any other yeah plans? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Probably not. I've been very busy with I still do photography on the side. So
Mm,
that's kind of towards the end of kind of my YouTube channel. What I started talking about was more photography stuff.
right.
Um, but yeah, I actually also recently left Superpower.
Right.
So right now I'm just kind of trying to see what I want to do next, and I'll probably start into something in the beginning of the next year.
Mm,
I don't really know yet what that's gonna look like, but
mm.
yeah.
I see. And one last question. I was wondering. I actually make this is like a podcast called Small Moment in Podcast, and I was curious, like, what is a small moment or small habits that you do every day that helps you succeed in your life or in your career? Uh,
So,
yeah.
a small habit I do every day. Mm, I mean, this is a very kind of it's not like the same habit every day, but it's I either go for a run or like a walk or something every day.
Mm,
And I think for me, running is a big kind of way to relieve stress and like clear my mind.
mm,
Sometimes I feel like an internal conflict of like, okay, you already have so much to do. Like, are you sure you want to spend like half an hour going outside and running and like wasting more time? But
mm,
it just really helps like kind of move into a calm mindset and just kind of reset yourself for
mm,
whatever it is
mm,
that's happening next.
mm,
If it's not like a run, it might be a walk or even just having like my coffee in the morning. So
mm,
like the action that I take to do it can look different on like different days, but
mm.
it's like finding time to like I guess breathe and like calm down a little bit and be like, okay, it's busy, but like go outside, like breathe some fresh air. That yeah.
Mhm. Right. I see. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
of
for,
course.
yeah, that's really, really valuable. Yeah. I'm so glad I can speak to you directly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. This was really fun. Thank you so much for